Hey, class of 1983. Welcome to another Go Knuckle Talk with Flo. And of course, my co-host, Miss Lisa Nolan Hafner. Hi there. And I'm excited about tonight's show. And you want to tell them why?
Well, we're excited because we get to spend some really special time with our classmates, Steve and Cindy Olson and Scott and Melissa Baucum, who have been together for 40 plus years. So today is our Sweetheart Valentine edition of Goat Knuckle Talk with Flo.
So, hey, guys.
Welcome.
Hey, how's everybody?
Hey.
Good to see you guys, seriously.
Yeah, and thank you for stopping by.
Yeah.
So I would just ask Melissa and Steve, and Scott, how the weather was, and they said they didn't get much snow, but you guys got pounded in Plainview.
Yeah, we got an awesome snow. It was, some people are saying like 14 inches. I don't really know what it was, but it was a lot, and it was super nice. We had, we've just been so moisture deficit for so long. Just so thankful for any kind of moisture. It was great. Yeah.
Well, that's good then. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Lisa. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We saw a video. Micah Weeks' wife, Laura, was in Plainview because her grandmother passed, and she posted a video, and it looked like it was like almost blizzard-like conditions.
Yeah, it was. It was. It's always got to be windy, so if it's going to snow, it snows sideways.
As we would say, snowing and blowing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, guys, you two, and plus we have also Tim and Renee, the three couples from our class that have been married. And I guess like Lisa mentioned, high school sweethearts. So Steve and Cindy, how long have you guys been married?
We're 39 years almost. Yeah,
wow.
39 years.
Yeah.
And what about Melissa and Scott?
36.
36.
Yeah, 36.
36. Well, it's obvious that you guys met in Plainview.
Right.
But how did you guys? Who courted who? First, who
Courted who?
Well, I didn't grow up with you guys in elementary school. I came in and frogged in as a sophomore. That's when I arrived, and you had this tradition there about Sadie Hawkins thing, where the girls would ask the guys to go to coronation in your senior year. Well, Melissa did not have a date, and of course I didn't have a date because I didn't know anything about it. And so Melissa stepped up and asked me to go to coronation, I guess sophomore or junior year, right?
Well, I asked you the last day of our junior year during finals in your mother's class.
Right. And then as I recall, I fell all over and immediately said yes. Is that right?
That's not correct. You laughed at me and said no. Or actually, you just laughed at me.
I just laughed. Yeah.
You just laughed. Yes. You just laughed and you didn't give me an answer.
It's crazy when dreams come true. A lot of times we just laugh.
No. When dreams come true, Steve. Thank you. I needed something there. Yeah.
Now, what about you? What about you two?
Oh man, we met in Ruthie Roberts' class at Lakeside Elementary.
We sure did.
And
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And by the way, she just passed here in this last about 2 or 3 weeks.
Did she really?
But anyway, I had cancer.
Okay.
But then go ahead.
I asked Steve in the library sophomore year. I sure did.
Did you ask him coronation or ask him out to
coronation? To the coronation, yes.
Well, I'll tell you a story about me about coronation. I think it's our freshman year when you girls were first starting asking the guys. Am I correct?
Right. That's right.
Well, guess who asked me to be their coronation date? Lisa. Yes, and guess what happened? She was voted queen.
Right.
Yes, she was.
And then Andrew Dunlap stole her away from me. So
I was going to say, I was looking back. I was reviewing this June when we had our reunion. I was looking back at those pictures, and I had forgotten some of that, but that's correct.
Yeah, and that's so me, Julian Sierra, and I, may he rest in peace. were the MCs for the coronation.
Right.
Well, I get to watch Andrew and Lisa, and I'm like, all right, fine. But nah, you know, I was happy for Lisa and Andrew. I guess because he was the class president, or was he the student council president? I don't recall.
He was our class president, wasn't he? I think he was our class
No,
president.
Mike, I think was the class president.
Oh, he was student council president.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's how I ended up.
Okay, well, let me ask you guys this.
Because you two were my two best guy friends in school, so you know. Yeah. You left me cold. But where did you guys go on your first date? I know you guys didn't wait to coronation their senior year to go out. So again.
Well, we went to the most romantic place there was in Plainview. I mean, it was pretty incredible. Some people don't know how romantic it really was, and you know, it's called the FFA banquet. And man, it was amazing. She fell so head over heels for me after that. There was no going back.
Okay.
What about you?
We were laughing about the other day. I remember we had a dill pickle on our plate, and I'm cutting it with my fork. And why would you ever cut that with your fork? So it can go fly and hit your date.
And is that what happened?
On the first date. Yeah, you can't hide food.
What about you guys, Melissa and Scott?
Coronation really was our first date, but then I guess
Wow.
well, we were kind of dating other people.
Yeah, we were kind of dating other people, but I did go and pick you up and take you to Mr. Burger for a cherry limeade.
That's right.
Yeah, before, just to kind of break the
Special.
ice a little bit before we went to coronation.
You can't hide money.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, Scott, you said, Steve, you mentioned FFA, and Scott, you were in FFA as well, because I took a picture of you wearing your jacket at our 40th reunion. Well, I don't know if you guys noticed, it's this shirt here was, there was a girl that posted this on one of the Plainview pages about 4 or 5 months ago, and whoever bought a shirt or sweatshirt, the proceeds went to the FAA Plainview. So hey, I'm helping the future farmers of America. So I wore this shirt on y'all behalf. So hope you guys enjoy it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, Lisa, you have any questions to ask?
I do. So I want to know if y'all have an interesting, funny, or anything that's interesting or funny about your dating, your proposal, or your wedding that you're willing to share.
I don't know how interesting it would be to anybody else, but I think for Lisa it would be kind of cool. When we went on our first date, on my pickup, there were some tires that Alfred Nolan had gotten off of a pickup or car or whatever it was that he was working on out at Edmondson, and I was working out at the gym at Edmondson. And he gave me those old tires, and they were the tires that we drove on our first date. Yeah, and I always remember his kindness. And
thank you for sharing that. You know, Daddy died almost 3 years ago.
I did not know that.
He unfortunately did not die a pleasant death, and the last 4 months of his life, he lived with me and my husband, and that story means so much to me. Daddy was a character, and he was funny, but he was also a really generous man. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that.
And really incredibly talented from what I remember, because back in those days you didn't have any money for anything, but I could go to him for some reason and ask him, hey, this is doing that or whatever, and he'd slaughter out there and take a look at it and tell me what I needed to do or whatever, just always good to me. And there was really no reason for him to be, other than he was just a great man.
He was a good guy. Y'all don't know this, but when Daddy bought the auto parts store and the gas station and all that, he hired me to work and pump gas because we were a full service gas station.
Yeah.
But I had to wear a shirt buttoned up to here and long sleeves and baggy clothes. And I kept forgetting to put the gas caps back on the cars, and so he fired me. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for sharing that story. What about you guys? You have a funny, interesting story about either dating, proposal, or your wedding?
Yeah.
You're obviously thinking of something.
Yeah. I was going to pharmacy school in Oklahoma, and Scott was going to Texas A&M. And when he proposed to me, I was actually in College Station for the weekend. And he blindfolded me, put me in his pickup, and drove me to Kyle Field. It was a Sunday afternoon. And we snuck into Kyle Field. And when he took the blindfold off, there I am on the 50-yard line in the very middle of the football stadium of Kyle Field. I mean, why not? I mean, he is an Aggie through and through.
That's cool.
So,
That is
That's
yeah.
cool.
Well, did you say yes? Of course you
I
did.
did.
Pride?
And the rest
So-
is history. Yes, it really was. It was a really neat experience. Really neat experience. It was awesome.
Wow, we were still in the Southwest Conference back then.
That's
All,
right.
all the schools.
Yeah.
So Steve and Cindy, you guys said you guys have been married 39 years. When is Big 4-0? When's your 40th going to be?
May the 18th of next year.
Wow. And so what plans do you guys have?
You know, Flo, it's kind of weird. We're in this kind of cycle where our kids are out of the house, and so we're kind of back to dating and doing what you want to, like I don't know. It's just a kind of a cool time of life, and so we get to go and do. We spent last week in Honduras and at a textile mill and stuff, and just don't really make a whole lot of plans, but if we get an urge, we just kind of try to, depending on the time of year, if we're not busy, we can, pretty much whatever.
Being
That's
an
cool.
it's fun, isn't it?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah. Way better than before.
It is.
You guys got married right out of high school.
Yeah. In 85.
85. Yeah.
Wow. And you got
Wow.
married in Plainview?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did y'all have a
Still
big
here.
wedding?
Do I?
Did y'all have a big wedding?
No, very small. Just small wedding. Wasn't a whole lot to it. Just her mom was like, "I give this 6 months. There's no way." And my parents were about the same way, and so we knew we wanted to, and so anyway, it was. You can't ever tell.
That's oh my gosh.
I may be a little too honest for this kind of deal,
No, bring it.
Did you have any classmates or any of our classmates in your wedding?
Jimmy Bodeker was my best man.
Jimmy
Oh,
Wayne.
okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is where I got the goat knuckle image from Jimmy, and Casey Wofford modified it for me.
That's
And
great.
That's
good
the Jimmy I
man.
know. Yeah.
yeah. And who else? Anyone else?
No, he was the only one out of our class.
Okay. What about you guys?
Yeah.
When'd you guys get married?
We got married in 1987 in Plainview, December 26th. It was a white Christmas. It looked a little bit like it did in Plainview yesterday.
Yeah.
We shoveled snow and had to salt the sidewalks, but it made for a beautiful wedding. So it was really nice. Kind of a small wedding, about probably a little less than 100 people, probably.
Any classmates in your wedding?
Yes, Zylena Gregg was a bridesmaid, and so was Stacy Brown.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Zalina.
Yes.
I called, just FYI, I called her office
Uh-huh.
before the 40th reunion. I left a message like, hey, we would love to see her.
Uh-huh.
I think she's in Seattle, I think.
She's in Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake, yeah.
Yes,
So,
she's in Salt Lake City. I saw her about, I don't know, 8 years ago. She came through St. Louis and I saw her. And we met her husband, who is an oncologist, or actually hematologist also. And they got married in a castle in Ukraine when they got married.
Wow.
So that was
Wow.
that was an
Yeah,
interesting
wow.
story. Yeah.
And I assume you guys attended?
Oh, no,
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 no.
No. What do you mean no?
we were raising kids back then.
Yeah, we were.
That's true.
We didn't
That's
go
true.
anywhere.
Well, you mentioned St. Louis, and that's where you guys live. What took you to St. Louis?
Well, when I got out of college, I was an ag teacher, and I got a job teaching ag as close to her as I could, right? So we weren't married yet, but I went to work, and it was just across the border in Texas. And then whenever she graduated, yeah,
Couple years later.
yeah, a couple of years later, but I actually got the job with Monsanto a year after I got out of college, and I went to work and went into training, and we lived apart for
Long time.
a long time, over a year. We lived apart after we got married. I was doing my thing and on the road a lot, and she was finishing up pharmacy school. So we kind of got to ease into it a little bit that way. But then I worked for Monsanto for 3 years. And then I got to thinking, well, I need to figure out what I'm going to do. I decided to go to law school and went to law school, got out, practiced law in New Mexico. And I didn't like it at all. I was like a caged cat. I just did not like practicing law in a law firm. And, we were pretty miserable, I think, at that point in time. We both were. We had one daughter. She was miserable. And so that's the only time I ever quit a job without having another job, right? But we said, we don't know what we're going to do, but we're just going to step out in faith, and we're going to do this, and we're going to go on. So I started interviewing around with all the ag companies. I thought biotech, there would be some future in biotechnology, and ended up going back to work for Monsanto. That ended up being the job that we chose. They moved us to Memphis, Tennessee. And we stayed in Memphis, Tennessee for 3 years. And at that time, we were changing business models about the way seed and ag chemical were being sold and all of that. And I took a job in St. Louis. We told our real estate agent, find us a place that will appreciate in value in 2 years. We'll be out of here in 2 years. And we have been here 26 years now, 26 straight years.
Wow.
And I ended up staying with the company. I'm in 33 years with the company now. So
Wow.
that's what got us here.
Wow.
It's interesting, Scott, hearing you talk. I was thinking about the last time that I saw you. We were on a sidewalk in San Diego, California. Do you remember that?
You know what? I had forgotten all about that, Steve. I do
too.
remember that. Yeah, we were out there for
Beltwide.
the conference, an ag.
Yeah, Beltwide. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, Beltwide. Yeah, I do remember that now. I had forgotten all about that.
Isn't that
Wow.
crazy? Yeah.
And y'all just ran into each other at the same conference? You just ran into each other?
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
ran into each other. I mean,
Yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah.
That's cool. That's really
my
cool.
gosh, people, if you've been in Missouri way longer than you were in Texas.
Yes.
right.
We've lived here now longer than we've lived anywhere else.
But I
Oh,
love
wow.
that you have Texas right behind you.
If you could see
Yeah.
this house, it's all Texas stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I see the Texas state
I
behind
had
you.
to bring some of it here, man. She won't let me go back, and so I got to bring it here.
Well, hey, Melissa, are you a pharmacist? Are you pharmaceuticals?
I'm a retired pharmacist. That's what I
Okay.
am. Yeah.
Now, Oklahoma what university did you go to?
I went to Southwestern Oklahoma State in Weatherford, Oklahoma.
And is that where, because two other, Delisa Votter
Yes.
ended up did she go there?
She went there. Leilana went there. Her sister went there.
What about Steve George? I know he graduated.
Steve George went there.
I
Yes.
forgot about
Wow.
that.
Clifton Pinnell. A lot of Plainview kids went to Southwestern. It was close. It was easy. They waived out of state tuition, all the good things. So
Wow.
there were a lot of us that graduated from there. When we moved to St. Louis, I officially retired so that I could raise kids. We knew that
Okay.
Scott was going to be traveling worldwide on a moment's notice. And so I just decided it was time to stay home. we didn't have family close at all. So that's when I decided I was going to raise little girls. So that's what I did.
Wow. Well, speaking of kids, assume you all got kids, but how many grandkids do y'all each have?
Nada. We're going
Really?
to get a son-in-law.
We're finally getting a son-in-law. Finally, we're getting a son-in-law in October. Yeah, our middle daughter finally snagged one and kept it on the hook. Yeah, so
Steve and Cindy, what about you guys?
We have five.
Five.
Yeah, we have
Five.
a son and a daughter. Our son has 3 boys that are just like him, and our daughter has a little girl that's just like her, and a little boy that's like his daddy.
Yep.
And so it's
That's
wow,
awesome.
that's
Wow.
amazing, guys.
Yeah,
That's
That's
amazing.
it is
good.
amazing.
I
And
bet
go ahead.
grandkids are a special thing.
It's so special.
Yeah.
So what do your grandkids
Go
call y'all?
ahead.
Momo and Papa.
Oh, I love that.
It was supposed to be Papa O, and I'd be like, "Oh, you want to go to Papa Do's?" And we'd go to Papa, but they never did the whole thing.
Yeah, I heard the kids decide what they're going to call you. Then
That's
that's
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, completely. My brother, I don't know if y'all remember Adam, he graduated a year ahead of us.
Sure.
He has a lot of grandkids and great grandkids. His great grandson calls him Buster.
Oh, how cute.
That's what he came up with.
That's awesome.
In your relationships, who's the most romantic?
By far, he is.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell her all the time, I am just wasted because, you know, I got all of this romance to give. And she's like, would you just stop? I got some stuff to do here.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Scott, definitely.
I married the no nonsense girl here.
I remember her as that. Yes.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I'm telling you,
And
she's an amazing girl.
And Cindy, are you the most romantic in y'all's relationship?
I guess I am. I guess so.
Why is that?
I'm not real. I'm just a very romantic lady. That's what it's all about.
Well,
yeah.
bet you-
It's easy to love, though.
Oh, that's
good.
so. Since we are celebrating Valentine's Day, do y'all have you created a Valentine's Day tradition? Is there something that you do every year for Valentine's Day?
This probably sounds incredibly corny, but it's really true. When we started out, you know, we were always doing something big for Valentine's Day. And then pretty soon we figured out really Valentine's Day needs to be every day. We need to treat each other this way every day. And so that's kind of where we're at. We don't really do anything big for Valentine's Day. We just try to do the right thing every day.
Oh, that's awesome, you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that's
I
pretty
like
cool.
that.
Pretty
There's
sweet.
a lot of pressure people put on that day. That's a great way to do it.
And I think about so many people that are single, and you know, I think it's really hard on them, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Yes.
What about you two?
partying on New Year's Eve.
I'm sorry.
I'm like partying on New Year's Eve.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I was lucky. I mean, I'd stay up to midnight, but I could have gone to bed at 9 easily.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Easily. So,
Mhm.
what about you two?
There's not anything we do every year. We do have a favorite place we like to go to if we can. He actually thought he
Yeah.
was going to be in Plainview this weekend.
Yeah, I thought I was going to need to travel for a hearing in Lubbock, and it turned out we changed our mind and decided to wait. But by that point in time, there was always too much. So I came up with another plan to host Miss Melissa for dinner here at the house tomorrow night, and I'm going to take care of everything. So
Oh, good for you.
Yay.
the flowers
Yeah.
there on. Now,
I
I do have a good Valentine's Day story to tell that we love to tell. We were in Memphis, Tennessee. Melissa was very pregnant with our second child. And there is this very chic, exclusive, expensive Italian restaurant called Chez Philippe in the Peabody Hotel in Memphis, Tennessee. And so I get a reservation there, and Melissa and I go in, and there aren't that many people in there. It's an expensive place to go, right? I mean, this is back a long time ago, but we go in there just being ourselves. And we are just cutting up and carrying on, having a good time and talking. And the other people that are in there are obviously from a different culture than we're from. And they're looking around and they're mentioning to the waiters, these people are disturbing us. You know, they need to calm down. This is a serious deal. It's a serious restaurant and whatever. And so our waitress was coming up, filling, you know, they keep the water filled all the time, you know, a lot of high service. So we're there at the restaurant and just having a great time, just being together. And I looked up at her and I said, "Now you have to admit, the waitress," I said, "you have to admit, you're having more fun with us than you are these other people in here." And she goes, "Oh yeah, I very much am." And it was a laugh for us there, and you know, having a good time. Well, she brings the bill, and she lays it down there, and it's high, you know, or whatever. But I looked at that, and I looked at her, and I said, "Do you have any idea how many aluminum cans I'm gonna have to pick up to pay for this?" And I think I probably got everybody in there to crack a smile at least, you know, before we got to go. But that is a memory of mine, I think, Melissa, that I go back to, and I got a really fond memory of that, even if it's not a common thing.
We caused a few scenes a lot of places.
We caused a few scenes a lot of places, yeah.
Well, you still got your good old boy accent. You haven't lost it, Scott. You still have
Right.
that heavy Texas drawl, even though
Yeah.
you're in the Midwest.
Even after 26 years, I still have this Texas accent, and I tell people, "Do you know why I have this accent?" And they go, "Why?" I said, "Because the pretty girls like it."
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to get rid of it.
We still get every day here, "You're not from here, are you?" And we say, "Well, we've been here for 26 years, but this is home now." But our accent didn't go anywhere.
So I assume your kids are still living in Missouri as well?
Actually, no. Our youngest daughter, Kenzie, graduated from A&M in December and stayed in College Station. She lives there and is working there. And then our middle daughter, Bailey, who's about to get married, is in Springfield, Missouri. So, and our oldest daughter is here. She's a school teacher.
So my question is, are you guys going to retire and stay in Missouri, or you think you'll come back to Texas?
Here's my prediction. Okay. Now, what we've said is we're going to stay here, and we've overinvested in our home. And so we've just decided that's what we've said. My prediction is wherever we have grandchildren, that's where Melissa's going to want to go. Now, that's my prediction. We'll do this again in a few years, and we'll find out. See, Cindy's already shaking her head up and down. I think I nailed that one, Cindy. I think that's probably.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything will change when you have grandchildren.
Yes.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
If you think you loved your kids, it's a whole different ball game when you have grandbabies, right, guys?
I can keep hearing that. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
To see your babies having a baby is a pretty remarkable experience.
Yeah. We're ready.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really, you know, rooting for Bailey to capture this one. This one's a good one. And yeah, she's got him on the hook so far.
Stamp of approval from Dad.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He is what we prayed for.
He is what we prayed for since before he was born.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So before we end this evening, I do want to ask another question. And this one's it's a serious question, but you can answer it in a humorous way. So if you could pick like 3 things that have been the key to your longevity in your marriage and your relationship, what would that be?
Forgiveness, forgiveness, and forgiveness.
Amen.
That's said.
I think it's about daily sex.
Nice.
Because like we were about to have sex Sunday, and then we were about to have sex Monday, and then we were about to have sex Tuesday. I mean, so you got to keep that hope in your in out there. I think seriously, I think the one of the biggest things is instead of seeing what they do, figure out why they did it and what was their motive. And if their intention was good, that's really easy to forgive and move on, because we realize that they're as imperfect as we are. And, just be honest about who you are and who they are. And then I think that goes a long, long way.
Mhm.
Great.
Awesome.
I think that it has been important for me to understand and realize that, we're kind of in that generation between the old generation and what's ultra modern here. But I think that we were maybe one of the first generations to actually feel like and realize that your partners in it, you have an equal partnership and an equal but different contribution. And I think it's been really important because Melissa is a formidable woman. And you have to understand that even though you're coming together as a couple and in partnership, you have to remember that there's individuality there, and you got to respect that, and you got to understand that, and you can't have an expectation that individuality disappears just because, you're married for a long period of time. So, just appreciating that individuality. I don't know that it's so much forgiveness as it is acceptance, right? This is who I married, and that is who they are. I think that that's probably been pretty important. But I guarantee you, when I leave home in the morning, I do not worry about my wife or whether she's going to be able to handle the day. I worry about the people that come into intersection with her, because she can handle her business, this girl. And that's, when I watch friends of mine that don't have that kind of situation, I have been spared a tremendous amount of concern and worry in my life, just because I know that she's got this every single day when I go leave the house and leave the cave, kill something, drag it home.
Wow.
Good.
Okay. Well, hey, I want to ask another question real quick to Steve and Cindy. You guys are carton growers, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
And is this something, Steve? I mean, did someone in your family or Sandy, your dad was a farmer,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But Steve, was your family, or you just learned it from?
No, my dad was a custom harvester, and so we would, in the summertime, we would start out around Vernon and end up in Wyoming, just following the wheat as it ripened up, and then when that was done, he'd come back to Plainview and combine sorghum and corn in the Plainview area.
Okay. Well, I know that you mentioned earlier you went to Honduras, and you also during a reunion, you two went to Sweden?
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Amsterdam. So
Yeah.
you're doing a lot of international travel. Is this something you've always done, or is this something you just started doing the last several years?
With all the human rights problems in China, there was so much forced labor and stuff that was going on during the cotton production and harvesting and all that. That really opened up the world's eyes to human rights and those kinds of things. And we are partners in a cotton gin here in Plainview. And part of what we want to do is be able to, like say you go into a J. Crew store or a Madewell store and you're looking at their denim, it'll say something, there'll be a little story about it being sustainably grown and sourced from West Texas. Well, that comes from our gin. And
nice.
Okay. And so we're trying to figure out ways that we can bring value back to our customers, and that's a good deal. But like in Amsterdam, that was basically a conference on how to have the most minimal impact on the environment that you can and grow cotton. And then the deal in Honduras, we sent cotton from our gin down there It was in the mill, and so we got to watch in the textile mill. So we got to watch them change that cotton from bales to shirts that will be sold in Target.
Awesome.
So kind of an interesting deal. But we had like us as farmers, the manager of the gin, the buyer, the shipper, the marsh, you know, the big line that ships containers. They were there. You know, just kind of that whole cycle, just to get everybody together and in one room and kind of talk about
Awesome.
what you need from me and what I need from you and that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
it was really, really interesting. So in Honduras, they have spent just gobs of money building these new textile mills and stuff, and they're trying to get that so they can do the changing of the cotton into fabric rather than sending it to China. And I think it's a good deal. It saves several days of freight, you know, and a lot of money coming from the U.S. to there. So, you know, I think it'll be good for U.S. growers. It's kind of funny. They like the dyeing process, you know, is a very contaminated deal. That's why we don't have that in the United States. And so the water coming out of the plant goes through this. It's a pretty incredible water treatment deal, and then goes back into the river. And you know, the water going into the river is still this kind of brownish color. So we would think in the United States, you know, there's no way that can go back into my river being that color. Well, it's just the color. It's not that the water's got the chemicals in it anymore. So it's kind of sad that we can't do that here, but we're just too far down that road to ever come back.
Mhm.
Wow. And you mentioned, I know Plainview has a lot of major droughts that's affected you guys quite a bit in the last decade or 20 years. Has it gotten any better? I mean, because I remember seeing a documentary by Don Cheadle, the actor. He flew into Plainview and did a documentary on the water situation there that was really bad. So
The water
does it get
situation
better?
is one. Yeah, the water situation is probably the major concern that we have, and so that's why, you know, we're using we do crop rotation. Like we'll have 2 years of a fibrous root crop, so that could be sorghum, it could be corn, it could be wheat, something like that, and then go in there 1 year with cotton, and we'll either we check our soil to see how hard it is. If a root can penetrate, we'll no-till into it. If it needs a little bit of help, we'll strip till it and just kind of make a narrow strip and then plant into that. And we do anything we can to try to keep the wind and the heat off of the soil, because once that soil, you know, if it's bare, it gets so hot that it just cooks the moisture out of it, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Steve, have
Okay.
y'all implemented water catchment systems?
Sure, we ain't got no water to catch.
Well, I mean, but it does. I mean, because so I asked that because my husband and I go to Big Bend every year, which is our end of year retreat, and we go hike for 2 weeks. And you know, they have no water there. They run out of water because tourists come and they're very wasteful with the water.
Yeah.
And everybody there has water catchment. So the few times that it does rain, they fill up these monster tanks, and everybody has them. It's the only way.
There's several people in Plainview have, you know, gutter systems on their home, and then they'll have a tank buried in their backyard, and that water will go in there, and they'll use I guess it's ultraviolet light and chemical to keep it, you know, where it doesn't get bad, and they won't drink that water, but they'll use it to water their lawns and that kind of stuff. You know?
I didn't know if there was some type of water catchment treatment that was more commercial based that could help with the crop situation.
Yeah, you know, you just have to pull it from such a huge area.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Well, let's end it up on a couple of more stories. So y'all tell us can you tell us something that happened in Plainview with you, and not maybe you couples, but maybe with Steve, you and Jimmy? I mean, what's something you can share to the classmates that's something that they don't know about that will turn their heads,
Well,
I guess. And you don't have to be clean. You can be dirty. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, Jimmy's still one of my very best friends, and we have a deal that I won't tell any stories on him if he doesn't tell any stories on me. So I am not cracking that egg. When you raise your kids in the same town you grow up in, you already know way too much.
I bet that's right. Yeah.
No, probably, like back in those high school years, my very favorite story, y'all remember Kim Weatherford. She had
Yes.
just come to
Rest in
town,
peace.
and we were in the ninth grade in Alfred Henderson's English class. And she's sitting in front of me, and I'm all slumped down in my chair, in those wooden chairs, and I fart. And I go, Kim, you're so gross. And I mean, I just kept on acting like it was her. Everybody in the class thought it was her. And I'm just sitting there dying laughing, And when she was sick, we were talking about that, how sorry that
I
was that I
remember.
did that to her. But she was such a sweet girl.
Did she forgive you?
Do what?
Did she forgive you?
Oh yeah. She thought it was funny after a few years. And then
I'm surprised she didn't move.
yeah. Then the other thing that I always thought was fun, I don't know if y'all remember Miss Hofsummer. She taught English. And she would always wear those yo-yo shoes. And she was kind of a big lady.
That is not what you called her, but we don't need to talk about that.
Well, she did wear a skirt one time that had hippos all over it. And so I did start calling her Miss Hoppopotamus. Which I wouldn't have done that again, But anyway, y'all remember those yo-yo shoes, and they had a little circle in them, and
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we'd always watch hers go all the way flat and just laugh. We thought that was so funny, She was an incredible lady, and every time somebody uses the word perfunctory, I always think about her.
That's funny.
What about you two?
Well, I just kind of look back on it with a lot of fond memories because, like Steve's talking about what he's going through, the difficulties of trying to grow a crop on a lot of acres and not have any water, not know if you're going to have any water. You put the seed in the ground and you're just waiting for the rain to come and what they're going through. I can remember my dad farmed as well as owning the cotton gin there. And I can remember, Steve, watching 8-inch water come out of the ground and go into that underground tile and go out there. We just had water everywhere. And then moving to Plainview, and of course coming from Spring Lake to Plainview was moving to town for us. And in high school, I think Melissa and I have reflected, we think that we were probably there in the real pinnacle of Plainview. I remember them being vibrant. You had the downtown area. I remember Mars and Son downtown at Christmas time and what it felt like and what it smelled like. And, just all of those things going into Ragland's Western Wear. It was just, I look back on it now and I had probably as perfect an opportunity growing up there in Plainview as anybody's had in America, growing up. So I've got a lot of fond memories of it.
We do.
We're really glad
I
that
look
we're
back on
from
that and
there.
think a lot about Greg Sherwood and how he taught so many boys to be men.
Right.
And,
right.
It's definitely not the place that you guys remember. In fact, where your dad's cotton gin is now an ethanol plant.
I know. Yeah, I've been out there.
Wow.
So.
Yeah.
But things have to
a lot.
change to stay the same. But I do think that we were in a position to really be there in great times. We've got great memories of things that went on there. I think that it is, and now I live in a world where there is just a tremendous breadth of culture that I have to deal with in what I do. And I can look back, I think, and really lean into the values that I learned being there on the high plains of Texas in Plainview. We thought we had a difference of opinion about a lot of things there, but actually we had a pretty consistent monoculture, and that helps solidify, right and wrong in your mind. And then once you understand right and wrong, then you can apply that in just about any situation that you go into. So I found it extremely valuable to grow up there and to get conditioned there and to get programmed there, and then come out into a world where you've got incredible trouble, you've got incredible conflict, you've got incredible burden on a lot of people, and you've got problems that need to be solved. And so I think I just look back on it, and I'm just really grateful for the fact that I had all of that before coming out into the world that I've migrated to since then.
And Scott, alluding to what you just said, I mean, I think that what you're describing was really reflected in our 40th class.
Yes.
I think you're right, Lisa.
I agree,
Yeah, I think
Lisa.
you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
The camaraderie, the ambiance, the connections, the conversations, the way people connected, like there was no division of anything. Everybody came together, and it was like, we're celebrating something big, like you said, because I think it was not stated, but I think we all felt that, yeah, we were kind of like the last class, that we were the pinnacle of how great Plainview was during that time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And our reunion was super, super reflective of those ideals and that attitude and that mentality.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, hey, I wanted to tell one quick story, and then you guys remember Thomas Rios? He was a year older than us. I think, Steve, you played football with him.
Yeah.
Well, his dad went to my dad. I think it was our sophomore, junior year during Christmas, and asked if I would work a weekend at his gym. I guess he was a manager, so he could let some of his employees go Christmas shopping. So a weekend, Thomas Rios, Lutez Thompson, and myself worked Saturday and Sunday 12 hours. And I'm telling you, that was the hardest freaking job I've ever done in my life. Well, not Tomas and Lutez had to sit on top of the back of the truck and vacuum the cotton. My job is, once it was compressed into a bale, I had to stick rods in and to the other guy, and we would tie, if I remember, tie them so it would contract. Hook up, and then I hooked. Did we hook it on something? I think we hooked it.
They hooked to each other.
Yeah. But I think also, whenever to move it, I think we put it on a hook, and I pushed again. I don't remember, it's many years, but I'm telling you. But I made a lot of money that weekend, for a young kid. But that was my little experience working at a gym. So, but guys, hey, we enjoyed it. Thank you for all your stories, and and I know that, wow, both of you put together almost 80 years of marriage. And
wow,
and
that's a perspective.
Well, I could also throw in Tim and Renee in there. That'd be almost 120 years. But bravo to you two, to you all four. And man, I'm hoping to see you guys, continue to see you guys at our reunions. So Lisa,
thank you all so much. It means so much to us that you were willing to come on and just converse with us and catch up, and especially you guys, since we didn't get to see you at the reunion. And it just so heartwarming, just fills my heart so much. I didn't get a chance to visit with you very much at the reunion, but that was my first one to attend. The only two people I stayed in touch with were Michael and Michael Weeks. We've been friends ever since we left high school. So it was so nice to get involved and to remember where I came from.
Right.
We're part of that.
Lisa, I just want to say to you and Michael, thank you so much for all you guys did for that reunion, as well as what you continue to do to keep this going, because I think, especially after this reunion, they've all been good, but this one, I think everybody wanted to stay connected. So thank you guys for doing all of this so we can do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do you guys all know that I love you?
Oh,
I love you too, Steve.
Yeah.
Good. You know, I feel very, very fortunate to have you guys as friends.
Mhm.
Thank you.
It's
Amen.
ditto here. And you know, that's the one thing that I've always loved is trying to keep our class together. And 20 years ago, I even created a website for us. And that was just before Facebook and
Mhm.
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So I with the help of Lori Griffith, you know, we just
Mhm.
try to keep everyone connected
Mhm.
and here we are. So, but
Mhm.
yeah, I'm very blessed to have you guys in my
Yeah.
life and enjoyed growing up. And Steve, I don't know if you remember this when I was playing football, we were in the field house. For whatever reason, they made us wrestle each other. So I think I was on top of you, and of course I weighed about 130, 140 pounds wet. And you know, Steve was probably what 220, solid 220, 210. So I was on top, and as soon as they blew the whistle, I grabbed him and flipped him. His eyes was like, whoa, I caught you off guard. So we did it again. That didn't happen.
Yeah.
Steve planted my ass quick and laid on me.
I don't remember that at all. But thanks for not making it a bad story of something.
No,
bad.
and then I was a skinny kid, and they put me, and then they had where they tied ropes in our hips, and we would pull against each other
I do
on all
remember
sixes,
that.
and they put me with Robert Braddock. I'm like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Y'all remember when we at our senior party when we were it was that
MASH?
MASH theme deal, and
Yeah.
I was dressed up as Klinger, and we had that arm wrestling contest.
Oh,
Well, it got down to Robert Braddock and Robert goes, "I'm fixing to tear your arm off," blah 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 blah. And I was scared to death, man. And it's kind of like that old deal. Two people you don't want to fight, the guy that's crying or the guy that's laughing, you know. And I remember just thinking, I am fixing to die. But I think I got this shoulder rotator cuff fixed last year, and I think it was probably
You
So I
won.
assume
I got a
Robert
t-shirt.
won.
You won in your dress.
Yeah.
Well, guys, again, thank you. And anytime you guys want to join us again, please, Melissa, if you want to get a group of girls or Scott, and I want to get a group of football players. Cindy, were you in band?
I was.
Yeah,
I
I
was
like to get
out of band.
yeah,
Yeah, need to get the
some
band
people
back together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know one of our shows that we're going to have Jeannie and Fanchon do a twirl show.
Are
But,
you?
Yes.
That would be good.
So, guys,
Okay.
anytime, reach out to us with you and Jimmy, Steve. So whatever. This show's been going forever.
Yes, you do. That'd be
Yeah, we
great.
do.
yes.
I want someone to crack that egg.
Do y'all remember where the old quick lunch was? Like, where
Oh,
they-
yeah.
Yeah, my dad used to take me there when I was a
Okay,
kid.
that's now a coffee shop. And
Correct.
Jimmy and I, and there's about 5 or 6 of us. We'll come a lot of times, bring our wives early in the morning and go down there and have coffee and tell these kinds of old stories. You know,
Uh-huh.
Oh, how
Wow.
fun.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
pretty cool. Pretty
Yes.
cool.
My dad used to take me there when I was a kid, when I was kids, to eat breakfast, and I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I mean, a lot. And I think my dad worked at the gas station not too far from there. So, yeah, fond memories, very fond memories. So,
I have a great idea. So we need to do a show live from the coffee shop.
Yes, you do.
That's right.
That would
There
be
you
cool.
go.
Why don't you
That
take
is
a
a great
laptop,
idea.
put it at the end of the table, and we'll do a live show with everybody that shows up to the coffee shop.
That'd be
That's
awesome.
what you need
Right.
to do.
It would be
That would
fun.
be so much fun.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys, my heart is so full. I've been riding on a high since last June. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's so heartwarming.
Mhm.
It's good to see all of you. Really good to see you.
Me too.
Yeah.
Hey, and that deal going on in Lubbock is about as ugly as anything I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, Steve, and it's going to get worse, buddy. And it bothers me. You can just ask Melissa. It bothers me, but
Yeah.
I
man,
guess I've been living under a rock. What's going on in Lubbock?
All the some great
Well, I could
growers
go.
were trying to get some easy money out of Scott's company and figured
Okay.
out pretty quick that Scott's company had nothing to do with it. It was because farmers were misusing chemicals. And so now it's farmers against farmers. And when that happens, there's a lot of, it's bad for everybody. Nobody
Okay.
wins.
Yeah.
Well, we'll pray for you, Scott. We'll pray for
Well,
you.
and Steve, the bad thing is now we're this close to losing the product, and you know, we're fighting for our lives. I'm just telling you, we're fighting for our lives because we're about to lose the product. And I don't know what situation you guys are faced with there, but there are people that they're going to have to abandon some acres if they don't have the product. So
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. There's no question about it. And you know, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just,
It's a
I
bad
don't understand why people don't follow the rules and realize how important it is that we do this stuff and do it right, because
Yeah.
well,
like
there's a
people
lot
watching
more
every
to it.
move we
Just
make.
hang on, because as it get worse before it gets better, friend. And
Okay.
So
we'll see.
do
We'll
you have
see
that
where it
number at law
goes.
school? Maybe I need to go to law school. I'm kinda
No.
Not now. Yeah,
No.
not now.
Uh-uh.
Well, what did you practice, Scott? Real quick. What did you practice?
Well, when I was in a law firm, I practiced tax and estate planning and business entities. I formed LLCs and that kind of thing. That's mostly what I did. Of course, I was an associate and I took everything that came in the door too. But now I'm in the law department, and I'm responsible for that, what Steve's talking about. But my job now is I take care, I call it whatever, if there's a chocolate mess, but when there are extremely serious problems, I go and I take that problem and we work on that problem and try to work that out. And so with the exception of the glyphosate cases, I handle the extremely serious problems in the company. And you know, I wake up at 3 a.m. with a lot on my mind. And
So you're the in-house counselor, I guess?
yes, I'm in-house counsel. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I wish you the best and we'll pray for you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
for that. Yeah.
So,
Everybody
well,
else.
guys,
Look,
we kept you over an hour.
that's
So,
all
but
right.
hey, we
It's been a lot
could
of
probably
fun.
sit in and talk for another couple hours.
By
I
the
Right?
time
But,
you
know.
get through editing, there's no telling what we will do.
there's no
Yeah.
editing. There's no editing, brother. We don't have to stop for you. But
Well, Steve and Cindy, the last thing I'll say is I appreciate your business. You have no idea. I got these 3 daughters. They're very expensive. I really appreciate y'all's business.
Well, you know, anything I can ever do for you, you just let me know.
Yeah, all right. Just don't spray the wrong product.
That's right.
Well, I do
Well,
all
guys-
my own spraying, and I don't let anybody else near any of that. We're gonna do it. And we're gonna do it right.
All right.
Well, we hope to see you guys soon. You guys take care and have a nice
All right.
Valentine's. Peace and love. Peace and love
Thanks,
to you
guys.
guys.
You guys.
Love y'all.
Valentine's.
All right, Miss
Thank
Lisa.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was another great show. Another great show. What do you think?